So I bought a lot of books in December, and because I don't want this to be a super long video because there's over 30 books, let's just get right into it. The first book, I actually didn't buy it, my husband bought, and it's The Inheritance, which is the fourth and last book in the Aragon series. And yeah, he's been reading it, and so he needed book 4. And I hope to start the series myself this year. Another one that I bought is actually, I bought it for my 9-year-old daughter for Christmas, and it's The Tales of Beetle the Bard. The Tales of Beetle the Bard. Yes, I always want to say Tales from Beetle the Bard. And so this is a Hogwarts library book, and it's supposed to be stories that the wizards grew up hearing. One that I actually got for Christmas that I asked for is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Now this is one that I have wanted to read for a few years, but I kept thinking I would find it in a used bookstore because it's a classic, but I can never find it. So I asked my mom to buy me this one with a gorgeous cover, and she did. And so I'm excited to read it. I don't know if I want to get into it this winter yet, or now if I should save it until like October and read it then, but we'll see. This isn't a book, but my mom also bought me this book sleeve. This is from Indigo, and I've been using it to keep my book annotating stuff in, and then also a book when I go out, and I think it's just so gorgeous. I love it, and this may be the start of a book sleeve buying addiction. Now the next, I think 8 books I bought are from Book Outlet. I did this 1 week before Christmas. It was kind of like stress shopping. I was kind of having a rough day and went online and bought 8 books. So the first one was Agatha Christie's Murder in Mesopotamia. I love her books, and this is a Miss Marple mystery, and Miss Marple is my favorite, so I was excited to find that one. One that I've talked about quite a bit lately is Mark of the Raven. This was one of my favorites from 2019. Also a favorite from 2019 was Fox. I'm so excited to have found this, and because the cover is just so pretty, and I'm really glad it's going to be on my shelves because it was one of my favorites from the year. Another pretty cover that I've heard Murphy talk about a lot lately is An Unkindness of Magicians. I actually know nothing about this, although I think it might be like magic realism. I'm not 100% sure. If it is, that's not necessarily my favorite kind of book, but we'll see if I enjoy it or not when I get to it. Another one that has a pretty cover, this is kind of like a theme here, is Romanov. This one is written by the person that wrote Fox, and I'm excited to read it because I really enjoyed Fox, and another pretty cover. Another one I want to get to this year is Scythe, and so I picked up the first book in the trilogy, I believe it's going to be, or is, and so I wanted to buy the second one, but thought I should check out the first one first. I haven't heard like anyone that didn't enjoy this book, so we'll see. And then the next 2 are book 1 and book 2 of a series, and it's a middle grade series, Keeper of the Lost Cities. I got book 1 and book 2. I'm hoping to read these in the next couple months. Then after Christmas, I found myself alone in the city, which never happens, so I ventured to the thrift store and bought myself a couple books there. It's kind of like a random assortment. The first 2 here are Trixie Belden books. This is a mystery series, and I think it's kind of like middle grade, like written for middle grade. I hear a lot of people say they enjoyed it as kids and enjoyed it a lot more than Nancy Drew. I haven't actually read any of these books. We own a few of them. My daughter has though, and she really enjoys them, so I picked them up and hope to start reading the series this year. This is Insurgent, and I think it's like the middle of the trilogy. I'm pretty sure it's book 2, and for some reason I own book 1 and book 3, but I didn't own this one, so I was glad to finally find this one to complete my collection, because my other 2 are hardcovers. Hardcovers. I wanted to make sure I found a hardcover to complete the collection, and I finally did. This one is also a middle grade one called Ruby Holler, and I had heard good things about it, but didn't remember what it was, so I bought it anyway, and my 9-year-old's been reading it and apparently enjoying it because in the last couple days she's almost finished the book already. A classic that I found is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but it also includes a number of Robert Louis Stevenson's other short stories, so I'm excited about this purchase because I own Dr. Jekyll itself, but I don't own the other short stories. And yet another classic, we got C.S. Lewis's Till We Have Faces, A Myth Retold. I actually don't know anything about this book, but I like C.S. Lewis even though anything that he writes that wasn't Narnia is kind of above me, but eventually I hope to get to this one. And then this next one was kind of a cover by Then She Was Gone. I liked the look of the cover, and I think it's a suspense thriller kind of book, and so we'll see. I think it should be a quick read. I'm not sure if it will be good or not. Then I got The Seagrass Pier by Colleen Coble. My friend Holly has been talking about this author before, and then I just happened to find this one, so I thought I would check it out. And I know she likes Colleen Coble's books, so we'll see if I do as well. The next one is actually non-fiction, and I'm really excited to have found it, and it's Educated. This one, I don't know if it's popular so much on BookTube, but it's really been popular in the homeschool community in the last year or whenever since it's been published, and I'm really excited to get to it because I think it's about a family that homeschools, but really they just don't teach their kids anything, and it's amazing the stuff that they don't actually know about in life. So I'm looking forward to getting to this one. And I've got one more huge stack that I bought on Book Outlet on Boxing Day. They were having their huge sale. I think I got, I paid $58 Canadian. And yeah, so all the books on Book Outlet are on sale, plus there was like a $25 off thing. So I think this value was over $250 worth of books that I got for $58 Canadian. So I kind of got a random assortment here as well. So this is 7 Men and 7 Women and the Secret of Their Greatness. This is by Eric Metaxas, and I have read part of one of his books before, Bonhoeffer, but I'm excited about this one because each story is quite a bit shorter than Bonhoeffer on its own. The next one is a middle grade one. It's Jasper and the Riddle of Riley's Mine. Oh man, that was just a tongue twister. Jasper and the Riddle of Riley's Mine. And it's by Carolyn Starr Rose, who wrote one of my favorite middle grade books, Maybe. So I'm curious to see what this one's all about. Another middle grade book that I've been hearing a lot about is Howl's Moving Castle. I want to get to this one probably in March for middle grade March. Then I got VC Andrews' The Silhouette Girl. This was purely I need a little bit more money in my cart to get the $25 free buy. I think it's like suspense thriller type book. I don't know if it's going to have content in it that I am not comfortable reading or not. So yeah, this is one I'll kind of have to force myself to get to, and then I won't be entirely surprised if I don't finish it, but we'll see. Then I kind of remembered that I liked Frank Peretti growing up, and so I found this collection of stories by him and a number of different authors. This book is Invitation. I actually have no idea what to expect from this, but it was cheap and I was buying books, so sometimes you just buy books and you don't really know why. Then I also bought Terry Blackstock's If I Run. And now I used to read quite a bit of Terry Blackstock, her books, when I was in high school because I went to a Christian school and she's a Christian author, and it was one of the few authors that our library allowed. I enjoyed her books then. I'm not sure if I would like them as an adult or not, so this is kind of my book to see if I enjoy her now. Also on the Christian author, they've got Soul's Gate by James L. Rubart. I read one of his books in 2019, and I like his writing style. He reminds me a lot of Frank Peretti and Ted Dekker, but just kind of with a bit of a different twist that I really like. So I hope to get to this one soon. Speaking of Ted Dekker, I have Forbidden, which I also know nothing about. I think I read the synopsis on Book Outlet, but now I don't remember anything. Then this next one, first of all, I really like the cover, and it's by Arthur Conan Doyle, who is the guy that wrote Sherlock. I actually had no idea that he wrote other books. I think this one might be a sci-fi book. I can't actually remember, but I really like Sherlock, and I figured, well, I need to try more books by him, so there's a classic in there. Then this was another cover by Once Upon a River. I have heard very mixed things about this book, and it's kind of to the point now where I just want to read it for myself and for my own opinions, and also because the cover is so gorgeous, that's why I bought it instead of getting it from the library. Then I got a book that I don't know how to pronounce. I think it's Aquafire, not 100% sure, but it is, I think, a fantasy book. Yeah, it's another one of those that I read the synopsis online, but now know nothing about. It'll go on my TBR cart, and we'll see when I get to it. The next one I actually started on audio. It's Olivia Twist. This is the story that, like, if Oliver Twist had been born as a girl and didn't tell anyone, like was raised as a boy even though she was a girl, and then it picks up, I think, kind of where Oliver Twist, the story ends, then this one kind of picks up. I don't know, I'm not explaining it well. But yeah, this is Olivia Twist. I listened to the first couple chapters on audio, so I'm going to start it over and read the actual hard copy. Then this is like a booktube by A Darker Shade of Magic, one that I've heard a lot of good things about on booktube, one that I have no idea if I'm actually going to like, but thought I would give it a try. Then I got Paper and Fire, which is book 2 in the Ink and Bone series. I actually don't own book 1, which is kind of a dumb move, but I am listening to book 1 on audio right now. I just barely started it, so hopefully I enjoy it, and then if I do, I will read book 2. And the last two are middle grade as well. This one is Rain, Rain by Anne M. Martin, and if you were a reader as a child, you might recognize her name because she's actually the woman that wrote The Babysitter's Club. And when I read this book a few years ago for the first time, I just loved the book, and I remember talking to my husband and just telling him, like, I wish these kind of middle grade books had existed when I was younger, and it wasn't all just The Babysitter's Club. I literally said The Babysitter's Club, and then I realized this is the same author. So while I enjoyed The Babysitter's Club as a child, not really putting it down exactly, this is just like a whole different level, and I'm excited for when my daughter reads it. And the very last one is The Best Family Ever. It's a Baxter family children's story. So this is by Karen Kingsbury, who is not my kind of author at all. She's a Christian fiction writer, and it's often like romance stories that she writes, not my kind of stories at all. But this is like the kids when they are younger. So my daughter started reading it from the library a few months ago, loved it, but then we had to return it, and there was like this huge hold waiting list, so we never got it again. But now we actually have the hard copy, and I think she's really excited to read it. So there we go. I know like often people like hold up all their books, but there's no way I'm holding up 36 books here. So you'll just have to trust me that I got a lot of books in December. January, I will probably not buy so many books. I would love to hear what's one of your favorite books that you recently purchased, one that you're most excited to read.